Atlantis was first mentioned by the philosopher Plato in two works, Timaeus and Critias, in 360 BC, reflecting thoughts on the decadence of nations as well as the model of an ideal state. The legendary name Atlantis is believed to refer to a large island in the Atlantic Ocean, opposite the Strait of Gibraltar today. It had mountains in the north and coastal plains in the south. On a fateful day, all of Atlantis sank deep beneath the sea. Atlantis is believed to have been sunk by a tsunami thousands of years ago. Research team leader Richard Freund from Harvard University stated it was the power of the tsunami. He expressed confusion as to why Atlantis could be displaced nearly 100 kilometers from the continent. To explore this mystery, from 2009 to 2010, the research team used satellite imagery of a submerged city north of Cadiz, Spain. They utilized radar, digital maps, and underground technology to survey the ruins. In the dry marshland, they found a series of ancient cities resembling the images of Atlantis, located about 240 kilometers from the discovery site. Based on the philosopher's story, it is good to map out, focusing the search in the Atlantic and Mediterranean. Regarding the Atlantis inhabitants, after the tsunami, they built new cities. From this discovery, he believes that Atlantis is buried 13.5 meters beneath the marsh. Is Atlantis in Antarctica? Many hypotheses have been put forward to prove the existence of Atlantis. However, most have been dismissed. Recently, the news agency Sputnik suggested that the Atlantis civilization might be located in the heart of Antarctica, where Atlantis thrived before being buried beneath the permanent ice. Previously, Russian scientists discovered remnants of a base built by the Nazis in 1942 in the Arctic region, specifically on a small island in Alexandra Land, about 960 kilometers from the North Pole. This has sparked a series of sensational claims about the possibility that Atlantis may have actually existed here. Famous websites specializing in conspiracy theories and mysteries suggest that during wartime, the Nazis could secretly establish a base in the Arctic. Thus, nothing would prevent them from moving down to Antarctica. Scientifically, the website news.com quoted a geologist referring to the theory of plate tectonics. According to this, approximately every 40,000 years, the Earth's crust undergoes a period of significant movement, altering the positions of the continents. Thus, around 12,000 years ago, the continent of Antarctica may have been located closer to the equator, not yet frozen and entirely suitable for prehistoric humans to settle. Since then, supporters of the theory have argued that the Atlantis civilization reached its peak until it was destroyed by geological shifts. When the U.S. National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, released the latest images collected during the Antarctic exploration program called Icebridge, and analyzed them, they found traces of an ancient fortress, such as canals and caves, which could serve as shelters. Some even claim to have discovered a structure resembling the pyramid architecture of the Aztec civilization in Central America, emerging from beneath the ice. This hypothesis is based on the origins of the Aztecs, suggesting that their ancestors fled to Central America from a distant land in the south, known as Aztlan, after it was destroyed by a natural disaster. NASA has not commented on these claims. Meanwhile, the mainstream scientific community continues to reject this hypothesis. The mystery of the inhabitants of the continent of Atlantis. A terrible accident suddenly occurred in broad daylight. A crowd of people ran in all directions, trying to escape. Some managed to find shelter in caves, but the doors of salvation only opened for a select few who had been chosen beforehand. The majority had to share the same fate as the continent, being submerged beneath the sea. That is the account of a Native American and was relayed by Colonel Porsim Harrison Fawcett, the German officer who was very passionate about archaeology and science. This officer immediately thought of the mysterious disappearance of the continent of Atlantis. He even mentioned a tunnel that once connected the New World to Atlantis. His tribe, the Periacs, is an ancient people living in the primeval forest between the basins of the Rio Aquare and Orinoco rivers in Brazil. The Periacs tribe calls their village Atlan, descendants of a long line of a royal and powerful people who fled from Atlantis after a catastrophic cosmic disaster in ancient times. Colonel Porsim Harrison Fawcett had followed countless traces and legends passed down to shed light on the story of this mysterious underwater kingdom. With support from funding provided by the Krupp Munich Science Institute, Porsim Harrison Fawcett reached the Periacs tribe. At the same time, he also discovered a copy of an important document dated 1734, which describes a group of Portuguese expeditionary soldiers. This group is believed to have found a segment of a mysterious underground tunnel located on a sheer cliff. According to this document, the aforementioned Portuguese group decided to follow the tunnel in order to make contact with a white civilization believed to exist beneath the deep layers of the earth. One person was assigned the task of riding to Rio de Janeiro, where the headquarters of the expeditionary force was located, to report the incident. Meanwhile, all the others were determined to venture deep into the tunnel to meet the intellectual elite. However, they never returned to the surface again. As for the messenger, after completing the mission, he unexpectedly died under unclear circumstances. After 3 months of researching with the Periacs tribe, Officer Porsim Harrison Fawcett decided to embark on an exploration of this mysterious site, leaving a final letter to his wife in Germany from a Portuguese monastery. From then on, he suddenly disappeared. Many later expeditions and scientists made efforts to continue Officer Porsim Harrison Fawcett's journey in order to uncover the secrets of the tunnel and the underground civilization. However, most of them gave up midway due to concerns for their safety in the face of unforeseen dangers. The only American archaeologist and philosopher, Raymond Lee, has spent many years researching this case. Ultimately, he claimed to have found evidence that the German officer was not killed by the Native Americans. Instead, Porsim Harrison Fawcett is said to have achieved the goal of his life. He is believed to have discovered the underground city of the Kingdom of Atlantis, but was held there permanently by its inhabitants. Professor Raymond Liu asserts that one of the entrances to the tunnel leading to the underwater kingdom is located in a mountain range near the Rocander area in Brazil. Alex McLellan, a well-known contemporary explorer, has confidently stated that the underground village system in Brazil is not merely a product of imagination or fanciful tales. These claims continue to spark numerous debates and explorations surrounding the Kingdom of Atlantis. In the mid-1960s, a scientist submitted a notice to the U.S. government as part of a scientific research program on the New World funded by Washington. In this notice, he stated that the entrances to the tunnels in the Rocander Range are always closely guarded by Native Americans. These individuals, though small in stature, possess unparalleled strength and astonishingly keen sense of smell. Anyone intending to penetrate the underground kingdom faces the risk of life-threatening danger. By day, these people carry out their daily activities. At night, they take on the role of guarding the fortifications. However, they have no direct connection with the underground residents and only serve as protectors. The scientist decided to abandon the search for entrances, as he understood that once one descends there, no one can return. In fact, the tunnel system is constructed so perfectly, harmonizing with the surrounding natural landscape, that even the most modern electronic detection aircraft cannot detect it. Many Native American elders assert that the tunnel routes and underground corridors not only exist in the Rocander Range, but also extend across the entire territory of the United States and other continents. However, these claims, despite being presented by a knowledgeable scientist, are received with skepticism and caution. Documents related to the underground kingdom of Atlantis were ultimately classified as national security. similar to the initial information about extraterrestrials or unidentified flying objects. These secrets continue to remain in the dark, leaving many unanswered questions to this day.